Book 3 change, huh? I wonder if there's some sort of narrative reason other than the spirits being around for that. Bossing Say falling into complete disarray at the drop of a hat is set up by both the little excursion Korra and Asami took earlier this season, as well as obviously the Earth Queen's flippant attitude to anyone's needs other than her own. But I can't help but think, once again, this could have been set up more effectively, even with the scenes we already had in the show. Like, sure, the lower ring is nasty and broke, but we don't see anyone really bitter about it. These two's family seems to be happy and healthy for the most part. They show no bitterness to the Queen or the system that keeps them in the lower ring. You don't need to see examples all over the place or anything, but at least feeling the tension among the populace I think would have helped a lot. Maybe instead of sitting around a desert for the entire last episode, we could have dedicated some time to that. The pod on this guy's head has the same royal seal that the airships do, and the wanted posters did. Oh, you mean the wanted posters that Bolin and Asami definitely would have had pictures for because Tarlock arrested them back in season 1? Yeah, I know, sorry. Ah, fuck! I don't mean to critique your guys' looting, but like, you're just pulling panels off of walls on this airship? Surely there's like jewels or copper pipe in the palace, right?
Excuse me, may I have your attention, please? I'm with the Republic City Police, and I need to commandeer this airship to help the Avatar.
This is bullshit. This is not how Mako performs police work. We know this at this point.
They took everything. I mean, who rips out a transmission radio?
Well, actually, that's a great point, Mako. Let's talk about that. A transmission radio is the highest tech thing these people are aware of, I think, other than the airship they're in right now, I guess. What I mean is that the whole pitch for the show of The Legend of Korra was that it was the next Avatar in a more advanced world, right? That's why we got Republic City, with its cars and electricity and radios and what have you. The concept was pretty novel. But now, in this season, we've departed Republic City, and what do we see? We see radios are pretty common everywhere, but outside of Republic City and Zaofu, the world seems basically unchanged. It seems just like the world that was back in Airbender. Nearly everyone outside of those two locations lives exactly the same way they did back then. It doesn't feel like the world has naturally advanced. It just feels like there's a couple places that can be classed as future cities, and I think that's a pretty big oversight. You're telling me that Bossing Say, biggest city in the world, doesn't have cars when half the population can literally build roads by swinging their arms around?
You know how to fly this thing.
Technically speaking, no. But come on, how hard could it be?
What are all these people doing out here running away from Bolin's bad piloting? Shouldn't you be, like, rioting?
Mako, our family's down there.
Move over. We're getting them out.
Oh, you think just because you dated Asami, you know how to fly this better than me?
Yeah.
That's even dumber than half my Patreon shoutouts.
Bolin?
Hey, Granny, you want to close the window? It's firestorming outside.
There's one thing that Mako and I have learned from all our years on the street. It doesn't matter where you go. If you have your family with you, you'll always be at home.
I'm not going.
I like the cut of Granny's jib. I agree. Bolin, go get Mako and we'll use him as a sacrifice and then everyone else can escape. How the fuck did you do that?
Her airship went down somewhere in the desert. She was coming from a military base near the Misty Palms Oasis and heading to Ba Sing Se.
Now, if my map knowledge off the top of the dome piece is correct, that dot is very close to the Misty Palms Oasis, where Fort Bosco is, so nice. And I believe that if this map is showing military bases, that this dot should be in just about the right spot to represent General Fong's base, so very nice.
That's a Ba Sing Se airship, all right. But where's the rest of it?
What do you mean the rest of it? How much did they use to make this sailor? Also, last time I assumed things would just stay uncovered in the desert for any amount of time. I got roasted heartily. So I doubt that these sand tracks would still be here due to, like, wind and stuff.
There's, like, wind and stuff.
Not to mention the giant sand shark. Where's the part of the tracks where that thing was thrashing around?
See, I told you, landing is hard.
Okay, sure, like it's hard to control, but maybe make every effort to not kill the perhaps one of one dragon. Also, does this not count as a landing earlier? If you can hover 3 feet away from a house, seems to be you could land pretty easy too.
Guys, look out! Giant dog beast thingy! Okay, all right, Naga.
Naga and Pabu this season? Pretty forgettable, like always. Naga seems nearly downgraded from Korra's animal guide and mount to basically team dog, which is fine, I guess, just an observation. She wasn't much of the first two things in the first place anyway. I almost find myself thinking that she wouldn't be in the show at all if it wasn't for that animal guide line from early Airbender.
Asami! Korra!
You guys are okay!
Korra seems to be surprised to be being hugged by Mako here for a moment before reciprocating.
Oh my gosh, it's Lord Zuko!
Don't bloodbend yourself around Zuko, it's bad manners.
We're just really honored to meet you, sir.
It's a pleasure to meet you as well.
I hate this shit. Why do they even correct Aang in school if they don't do the right salute ever again? They don't even do it right in Airbender. Oh, I hate my brain.
You must be the Avatar.
Oh, hey, Asami gets a creepypasta face here too. Nice, add that one to the collection.
Actually, that's Asami. This is Avatar Korra. Korra, this is my grandma Yin.
You are very muscular for a woman.
Thanks.
What do you mean, oh, thanks? Hell yeah, you're jacked.
Mako, why aren't you dating any nice girls like them?
That's a great point, Granny. Can you believe your grandson has been written to be such an idiot he blew it with both of them?
Because he wanted us to find you and deliver a message.
Zaheer is headed to the Northern Air Temple as we speak. He said he's gonna wipe out the new Air Nation and everyone in it.
Wipe them out. God, it just feels right at this point. I've been paying attention, and though the family does seem pretty different from the first time we saw them, and smaller numbers-wise, the animators have been keeping it pretty straight which character designs are here with us now.
We need to radio Tenzin and warn him that the Red Lotus is coming.
I agree. Unfortunately, we don't have a radio on the airship.
It's a goddamn shame the rest of the world is stuck in the last Airbender Dark Ages, right? It's even a plot point here.
There might be another way to stop him. It's a long shot, but Zaheer is always meditating into the spirit world, and I know exactly where he goes. Maybe I could somehow trap him.
Are you out of your fucking mind? I guess last time he was friendly enough, but you're also very aware he can permanently trap you there as well. He showed you he can do it. And as you're not aware of his plans for you yet, this seems like a ridiculous risk to take to solve basically nothing. So what if he's amicable last time? What if his plans have changed? What if you doing this makes his entire plan easier? You don't know. For Korra, who I've been liking a lot more this season because she's felt driven and intelligent and reasonable when it's called for, this is completely out of nowhere. It's also like pretty silly. What if it was just a one-time meeting spot? So what if it's named after an old Red Lotus guy? Just assuming he's going to be right here, right now, as if he doesn't got a lot of shit on his plate in the real world right now is insane.
I'm going to take a nap.
You're kind of growing on me, Granny.
Zaheer! Come out! There you are.
But we have to have Korra have this insane thought so we can get an Iroh cameo. That's all it really is. Shove Iroh into the story just so everyone can go, "Hey, like, I get it, I like the guy, I'll give you an A, but really?" I don't know if they meant to do this, but I like that Korra and Iroh sit under the same tree that Zaheer did, but this time, as Korra receives advice, they're on even ground. Iroh approaches her with understanding, which I think is a big part of Iroh's wisdom. It's that he's never talking down to anyone. He sees everyone and anyone as just someone who needs help. And I think that aspect of him is captured beautifully here. Am I super jazzed that once again they drug him up just so he can say a few pretty simple words to Korra and then have her go talk to Zuko? I honestly think this one is better than last season, though still not great.
Just because you are the Avatar doesn't mean you will have all the answers.
I'm the only one since Avatar 1 that can't get help from my past lives. I wish I could talk to Aang.
You know, Zuko and Aang were close friends.
Iroh's advice here is simple. It's easy to grasp, but that's not the same as obvious, like last season. Most of Iroh's wisdom is simple and easy to grasp, and that's probably where a lot of the wisdom comes from. I think this shorter moment of him helping Korra is much more effective than the elongated one from last season. I just wish, I don't know, for a character like Iroh, I just feel like there should be more, and I don't even know in what way more, but more. Like, I don't want Spirit Iroh to come help beat Zaheer or anything, but I feel like if this is all you can give a beloved character, maybe just leave him out.
But they grew to become lifelong friends. Best friends.
Bullshit. Fuck you, old man. I reject this narrative. I know you can have more than one best friend, whatever. If there's a number one, Aang and Sokka should be best friends. Ooh.
You're leaving. Aren't you coming to the Air Temple with us?
Forget that. Zaheer's nice with it. I'm out of here. I think the way the show handles the previous cast is very appropriate. Do you want to see Zuko go kick ass in the finale? Absolutely. Would have been cool if Katara did something last season other than sit next to Jinora? Sure. Would more Toph be fun next season? Yeah, but it's not their story anymore. I don't want these guys to steal the spotlight from our main cast. Seeing them is great, having their personalities around is great, but the show very gracefully lets them have their time and then lets the main cast do their thing. It's a very thin line, I realize, between me not liking how they handle Iroh and liking how they handle these guys. I guess these guys feel more organic to the story and their roles make more sense. Iroh seems sort of forced in and then also doesn't have much of an impact.
Rebuilding the Air Nation was Aang's biggest dream, and if he accomplished that goal, he might have sacrificed anything to protect it.
So he would give himself up to save the Air Nation?
I don't know for sure.
Giving advice but then typing "but IDK" right after so you're not responsible.
Your uncle was right. It was helpful talking to you.
Wait, you spoke with my uncle?
Yeah, no, he just decided to stay in there instead of pass on to some sort of afterlife to be with Liu 10 or anything, even though when he had that near-death experience, that was what he was thinking about. Yeah, he's just mostly chilling around the clock in there.
Milo, this is your commanding officer. Go get your dad now.
Yes, sir.
No way Milo takes that kind of talk from Korra. No way.
Oh, no.
What? What is it? Tenzin! Tenzin, what's happening?
The difference in size between 6'3" Tenzin staff and 3'6" Milo's staff isn't very much at all. Tenzin is once again seen using a traditional glider. I guess the one Zaheer stole from his study was just something he was experimenting with.
What's going on, Tenzin?
It's Zaheer.
Behold, the only questionable line read, I think, in J.K. Simmons' entire career. It sounds like he's introducing himself as Zaheer.
It's Zaheer.
These two seem to be running a similar exercise that Korra and Opal were doing before they're interrupted.
No one's going anywhere. She gets it.
Well, at least it's not Jinora this time. The airbenders get rounded up into the very room where Aang met the Mechanist for the first time, the room he was destroying to make a bathhouse, and now actually there seems to be a little body of water around the statue, so maybe he kinda got what he wanted.
I will never let you get to Korra.
Unfortunately, you don't have a choice.
Yes, I do.
Wow, these ones are really puny. There's not even any damage done to the ground. Zaheer's staff classically just turns into a stick in this shot. There's supposed to be water in this pool, as previously discussed, but nah, I don't know. Tenzin versus Zaheer is everything I want in an animated fight. Fast, flashy, and an easy time telling how the fight is going. That's what I love. It's so cool to see Zaheer just completely outclassed by Tenzin. I've mentioned it before, but I love when a sensei or master type characters just get to let loose and show off. Because a lot of the time you can forget why they're the master when it's their acting role in the show. Tenzin gets on Zaheer's ass. It's wicked. Good slow motion in this action scene too. Would have been hard to catch that in full speed. Yes, yes. All right, maybe we'll take a moment from gushing about this scene to revisit this point. Minghwa's psychic bending. When I talked about it last, honestly, some people in the comments made some good points. A lot of people made some not so good points, but some of you had me rethink. It's true that psychic bending is present in Airbender. I'd already conceded that, but there may be more examples that could be more down that line that I hadn't given credit to. There's even a couple moments where, yes, Katara gives herself water arms. It doesn't seem to maintain them in any way. I think I've concluded that my take on the magic system was probably a little too narrow. I still think that Airbender definitely puts more effort into tying movement to bending, but yes, there are certainly moments you can argue that aren't in line with the way I thought at all. That all being said, I still do think Minghwa doesn't really work in the magic system. Even if the system is more lenient than I gave it credit for, her style is still too far removed from what I think everyone understands the system to be. And I think that's a pretty reasonable take. Water bending? More like rule bending. Ghazan makes the jump of the century here, a little too short or a little too long, and he's maimed himself horribly. Also, Minghwa just does a sweet 360 here, but doesn't really do anything. Okay, question about Ghazan's abilities, right? Mostly he starts his attacks with turning the ground into lava, and he's certainly been shown to be able to do that at a distance, so why doesn't he just do the trip-up move, lava variation, every single time? Like here with Boomy, just turn the walkway into lava in 10 feet in each direction, and he's screwed. Sure, you can't because it would be uninteresting and lame, but this one always stuck out in my head as like a, come on, it's pretty obvious from what he can do nearly every attack. Exactly, just do that, but 5 times as big, right?
Wait, what are you doing? Whatever I can. Get to the bison!
What a character arc. Kai is now calling them bison instead of bisons. Okay, being a dick aside, this is a bit of a moment for Kai. He's gone from this scummy little thieving lowlife who only looks out for number one himself, and is now putting his life on the line for his friends and allies. What they were going for works on paper for sure, but I don't know. Kai's just never grabbed me as a character. He's fun enough, and he's a good enough guy, but I just don't think there's anything for me to really love about Kai, you know? So this heroic moment for him sort of falls flat for me. I never really thought about this. I really like the lighting of these action scenes. It's sort of overcast, dulled down a bit. Like, look at this, looks pretty. Reminds me that Korra used to have a really interesting art direction lighting-wise that sort of got left in the dust when season 2 came around. Come on, Plea, you were close with the other ones. What was that? Really cool shot here. You can actually see the combustion shot fly into the distance nearly from Plea's perspective. Oh no, not Kai. And I like that Kai and Boomy get a real spotlight too. They're doing some real heroic stuff as well. Once again, I think placed wonderfully. Just like our previous cast, they never overshadow our new main cast when it comes to action or heroic moments. But as members of this show's cast and kids of our past protagonists, we want them to have their moments too, and they get them in season 3 for sure. I think the pacing and character moments as this season closes are handed out masterfully.
Boomy, let go!
God, it'd be funny if you let go of Kaya and not the ledge. See? Right? They went through a bunch of shit to break their fall. Good job, Ape Brain. Look at him, he's styling on him. Of course, this is the same move that Aang is seen using in the extended intro to the show that we only see in episode 1. Sure glad these aren't lava balls for some reason.
Give up. It's over.
As long as I'm breathing, It's not over.
This is my favorite moment in the show, the whole show. This hits really hard. Tenzin putting his life on the line for his people and his dream. And J.K. Simmons' powerful line read. And they're both very tasteful and very intelligent due to Nickelodeon, panning away and just implying the horrible beatdown Tenzin is getting. Tenzin is stalwart and standing up for his people, and for Korra. It doesn't matter what happens to him.
As long as I'm breathing, it's not over.
Oh, it's so good. It almost brings a tear to your eye. Perfect moment. Oh, hey, Kai's alive. Neat. Honestly, I think of these last 3 episodes as sort of like a movie. It's kind of paced like it. The first half is pretty slow and unassuming. Everyone's just kind of getting geared up for the finale, but like I always say, you gotta set the pins up if you're gonna knock them down, so I don't mind. The Iroh thing, but whatever. The real star of the show is what's going on in the Northern Air Temple. As soon as the show transitions over there, this episode's banging, man. The action, the character moments, the drama, everything. We very nicely give our secondary characters their big moments here, so they don't feel left out of the goings-on. They still have an impact, however small it may be. And that's great to not let anyone feel useless. And Tenzin's moment, man, just incredible on a few different levels. I don't have basically anything to complain about with this one. I think this one's great. Patreon shoutouts if you want to see the next 2 episodes of Overanalyzing Korra ahead of the YouTube releases. You can support me on Patreon for just a few bucks. Link, as always, is in the description below the video. Biggest shoutouts of all go to my top patrons, a sack of pancakes who finally defeated their arch enemy and set up a ramp and did a sweet jump over their grave on their bike. Kevin Bartlin, who actually saved a lifeguard at the pool once, so now they have a license to be allowed to run near the pool. Lewis Williams, who started seeing threatening messages in the clouds, and that either means he's pissed off a Skyrider, or one thing that's way worse, or another thing that's way worse. Liquor Cause I Know Her, who I saw run through a steel door because there was someone that needed help with a riddle on the other side. Omega Fighter, who after seeing their friends crush soda cans as a kid, crushed a full one with one hand. No one told them they were supposed to be empty first. Hater of Tots, who trained in contortionism just so their body would be more suitable to demonic possession. Think of all the crazy shit they could make them do. And that one Turian, who doesn't actually like the look of all the autumn leaves, so they can just stare at a tree real menacingly for a minute or two and the leaves will turn green again. And of course my other fuck you money patrons, Arj, Blanco, Cameron Lowry, Gene Cree, Gyro Like, Luna Invicta, Matthew Lang, Potato Scream, The Former Meaning of Life, The 1AM Party, Whitrow, and WowDude87. And my god overanalyzers, 2 Boots Are Beat, Ang, Alan Garvin, Andrew Watchard, Anzio Ruiz, Oropataro, Axolotl Syndicate, Chandler Crump, Cosmic Newbie, Dr. Xerox, Dominic Saint, Emma Not Emma, Aaron Grace, Fire Lizard 44, I'm a Match, Jackson, Jeremy Rubenstein, JTurd4215, John Ajaka, John Warhammer, Justin Scott, LM the RMT, Mac, Medium D Speaks, Michael Fallon, Mitchell Gobrecht, Nick, Nicholas Abbott, Peter Bayron, Pogger White, Revenge of the Beefsteak Tomatoes, Rocket Mish, Ryan Maxwell, Scoobert, Shane Antonacci, Silk Toast, Smarty Marty, Princess Useless Backwards, Super Snipper, Totoro, Bob Rose Musical Emporium, Von Can't Spell, and some sort of bear face. Next up, it's pretty mind-blowing.